Jesus said, enter through the narrow gate. And this is 7:13 and following. For wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Now, when I choose images to put alongside text, it's partly to keep you interested, to give you something to do with your eyes as I read if you aren't reading along. But this time, I do this because when I think of a gate, I think of a picket fence or a backyard fence, the one that goes from our backyard to the place where I put my garbage out. And that is a narrow gate, but I enter it pretty freely, and it didn't seem like the proper one. This is what a gate looks like in a walled city, and this is what a gate would have been understood as in probably in Jesus's mind and the mind of his disciples. It's a different thing, and so limited entry point would have been a part of gates in their understanding. Now, he compares a wider gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction. There were wider entries to some cities and also through passageways, and he cast that image as a contrast to the narrow gate, the less often chose. Small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it, he says. Now, the question here is, what does life mean? What does Jesus mean when he talks about life? And of course, it could be eternal or afterlife, or it could be, as we've been kind of playing with throughout this series, it could be the flourishing life that Jesus has laid out that has been mostly here and now life that we started with when we started with don't murder. You've heard don't murder. I say don't even nurse anger. And Jesus interiorizing the demands of behavior so that the life gets full and we aren't seething at our enemies, even if we stop short of killing them, right? And so life here could mean afterlife, and we're going to get to that especially further down this evening. But it likely here means the leading to life that he's been describing in the way a community lives, an individual lives in the Sermon on the Mount's description, right? So not even anger when asked to not murder, not even lust when asked not to, when commanded not to commit adultery, when told to love your neighbor and hate your enemy, as Qumran had it. I tell you, love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you. These kind of high demands, Jesus is saying, it's kind of like a narrow gate, and not that many find their way to it, but I commend it to you and invite you to it. That's the word enter at the beginning of this paragraph, right? Enter through the narrow gate. He highly recommends. he commands, exhorts, enter through the narrow gate. This is a great life, but it's harder.